What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Wingin It podcast. Andre, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Just chilling out. Had some hilarity happen this week.
Man, you talking about people being pissed? You ain't talking about hilarity.
No, it was funny to me.
No, it was hilarious for me too. But and you know what? Before we get into that, we got to start off with some happiness. Some good, wholesome happiness.
With some
Isabel and Doom
animals.
guy. Isabel and Doom got rip and tear. But no, Animal Crossing had their direct this week. Now I am not an Animal Crossing guy, y'all know that, but it wasn't a bad trailer. I'm like, it wasn't a bad direct, I should say. I did like the updates they're doing. I like everybody loves free 99.
Mm.
Everybody loves free 99. So that that part of the update was actually pretty cool. Then there is paid DLC, of course, which I mean, you kind of figured that
Their
was going to
paid
happen.
DLC, their paid DLC that was basically just bringing Happy Home Designer into the current
Yeah,
game.
which I mean, but you had to figure it was going to happen. I
Yeah,
mean, kind of had to figure it was going to happen at some point, especially if it's going to be like that. Bring it because is that essentially the entirety of the game, the Happy Home Design? That's the whole thing, and just
yeah.
poured it in.
Basically, you putting people's houses together, rearranging them and stuff on. It's the same basic concept. Only difference is in this situation, you're putting the house together before they get there.
Okay. In some kind of way, I still think that
But
freaking raccoon is gonna. Never mind.
no. But no. Speaking of Mr. Nook, it's funny how you get the job based off of his reference.
Hey man, it
They're
ain't
like,
easy
look,
for a pimp. It ain't easy for a pimp out here in these streets.
they're like, look, just I got this dude that owe me money. They need a job. All you got to do is give him the job. That's it. Y'all still owe me anyway,
Yeah,
so you better hire.
that's a crazy reference. Like having Tom Nook on your resume, that has to be a crazy reference. Oh, don't worry, you gonna get that job.
Yeah,
You gonna
like
get
you,
that job.
look. This is the place. Go apply here and tell them I sent.
Yeah, everybody to start sweating and shaking. And before people get mad, we know it's just a joke. Before people get mad, why do everybody get mad when we say Tom Nook is a gangster slash pimp? I don't understand that.
Look, if the shoe fits,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. At this point,
I mean, and he's a Tanuki. You know what that means when he smack you.
basically,
So
I mean, yeah. So I liked it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. It was only about what 20 minutes,
yeah,
I
it was
think.
about 20
Yeah.
minutes. Now, honestly,
So
from everything that they said and what I've seen people's reaction to it, is generally everybody's happy about it as far as Animal
yeah,
Crossing goes.
yeah. They was happy about it for all of 10 minutes after they down. Because then Nintendo did the Nintendo is the Nintendo things. So they finally revealed how much the price is going to be for the expansion pack. And at this point, I had some popcorn because this, oh boy, you talking about people pissed off, but
Knew it was coming.
we knew it was coming. And on top of that, people, I did a video of Let's Talk yesterday morning about that, and I just said one thing. I'm like, look, if you see value in it, I don't. There's nobody should ever be mad at you if you see value in it. I understand
Mm.
people saying that it's too expensive. I can understand that, but here's my whole problem with this. Some of these people complaining are the same people who complained about the original Nintendo Switch Online, and they bought it. This 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 sounds exactly like what happened with Pokemon, with Animal Crossing, with because what else got ratioed to hell? Oh, Byleth got ratioed all to hell. When they did the character reveal for Byleth for Smash Bros, that got ratioed. All this stuff happens, and it kind of means nothing because in the grand scheme of things, people buy it, and the same people who complain are the same people who buy it. So if, and I said it yesterday, if you want to enact and actually get change, you're gonna have to have a focus. You're gonna have to have a plan, and getting on Twitter, getting on YouTube, ranting and raving ain't gonna get it done. Because one, if I'm Nintendo and I'm sitting in that boardroom and the numbers come back and people are buying it, all I'm gonna say is okay, but judging by what we have in front of us, people like it. That's all they can go by. They have to go by the numbers. They can't go by, what X person says on Twitter or what X person says on their YouTube channel. They can only go by what the numbers are in front of their face. That's it. I mean, if people are buying it, that's what they're going to go by. They're not going to go by who's mad. They're going to go by what the numbers say, because once again, this is exactly what happened when the original Nintendo Switch Online got brought out. People were mad. It got ratioed all to hell, and guess what happened? People still bought it. So at some point, if you really want to enact some sort of change, you're gonna have to actually have a focus. You're gonna have to. The only thing that I can see is you got to do what they did for Operation Rainfall. Operation Rainfall worked because there was a focus, there was a plan, and it was done properly. And that's it. Once again, I'm not sitting in Nintendo's boardroom. They're not going to show me those. They're not going to show anybody those numbers outside of the people on the board, and that's probably about it. And the shareholders, that's not everybody, but those top shareholders, they're probably going to be able to see them. Everybody else ain't gonna be able to see them. Like you, that's why I always say it's pointless to talk about sales, because one, we're not seeing what they see. We're not going to see everything that the board sees and all that. So it's hard to try to say, okay, they need to make this game when we don't know what the sales is, and then when they don't do it, is because 9 times out of 10 because the sales are low. You can't get mad at them when people gonna turn around and buy the freaking expansion pack. I promise you, all these people sitting up here complaining, I promise you they're gonna buy it.
Oh yeah, they will be.
It's the same thing what happened with Switch Online. And yes, that video is getting ratioed to hell. I'm telling you, they don't care.
The same thing happened with Switch Online. They got completely thumbed. It got bombed.
Yeah.
It got bombed.
And what happened?
Everybody paid into it anyway.
So
and like you keep telling people that there's a cheaper way to get all these services, and Nintendo literally told you what's available. Do the family plan, split the bill. You're paying $11.50 a year.
Yeah. Now here's the other thing too. I don't know if anybody knows this. You ain't got to buy the expansion pack if you don't want to.
Nope, you really don't.
You just won't have access to Genesis and N64. And I have,
and whatever else they add to it.
Yeah, because I have saw a couple of leaks, and yeah, Banjo-Kazooie ain't the only rare game we getting on there. Mm-hmm. It got leaked that Perfect Dark is coming,
which means
that's like one of
the
first games coming.
There's going to be its own instance of it though, so it's not going to be the one that's on Xbox.
On Xbox, it's going to be the N64 version. And if they bring that, why would they bring Conquer? That's why I said, like, we don't know what all they're bringing.
Who's to say that they do not end up with a Dreamcast lineup
or a GameCube? Who's to say that? I mean, and then I showed everybody, like I showed everybody yesterday. Look, I went to Nintendo's online store and showed everybody the N64 controller sold out and the Sega Genesis controller is sold out. It's limit 4 per account. They're already sold out. I already got mine because I only got one. I pre-ordered one. So I was able to pre-order mine. Thanks. Shout out to Nintendo Fangirl. Thanks for alerting everybody. I appreciate you. But yeah. I went on and pre-ordered mine. So, and I pre-ordered me a new Metroid, so got to represent. So I'm like, look, man, I'm just going by that. And then you go on Twitter though, this anti-consumer. Please stop saying stuff is anti-consumer. That's not what that word means.
About too much.
Yeah, y'all throwing it out there too much. Please stop saying stuff is anti-consumer just because you don't like it. Please stop saying that. Just do me a favor and please stop saying that. Please. I'm begging you, please.
Because all companies going to hear this is anti-consumer, but everybody's paying for it.
I mean, I mean,
Make sense of that. You got to make sense of that.
Yeah, make it make sense. Make it make sense because I'm like, dude, if you go through, if I went through my Twitter timeline, I promise you there'd be so many people complaining, and I promise you, half them people complain. I'd say 75% of them people complaining are gonna have it day one.
Yeah,
they're gonna forget that they were complaining and show you Star Fox.
Yep. The only thing I could say that anybody really could have a legitimate gripe with is that the Animal Crossing DLC is tied to it.
Yeah.
And like they should have a version of it without it that you can take like $10 off.
And we don't know what all that's going to entail because what if they allow people to change the game out? We don't know because I don't think it's just going to be Animal Crossing.
No, I don't think
that wouldn't make any sense. That wouldn't make any sense. I don't think
that's going to be it either. They're probably going to be adding more games to it, but they should have had a version of it without that set so that you can make the decision.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But to sit and say it's anti-consumer, to sit and say it's way more expensive, and I'm like, no, and stop saying they don't have voice chat. They do have voice chat. You just don't like using it the way they have it. They do have
even though people will use their phones and use Discord and Skype and any other chat service to do the exact same thing.
How many times have I said it? I know people. I have PSN and Game Pass Ultimate. Nobody that I know uses the chat and the party chat feature. We all use Discord or Skype.
Very rare.
Tell me why I'm paying for it. That's why people got so happy when they thought Microsoft was going to buy Discord.
Yep.
That's why they got happy. They were like, cool, we'll finally have something stable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people complaining.
Yeah. No, Gwen, we do get that the DLC comes with it and you can purchase it separately. The problem is you can't get the expansion pack without the DLC. That's the problem because it's still technically tied to it. That's what people's issue is. So if you could take that off of there and drop each of those tiers by $10, meaning that the single for a year is $40, and then the family plan for a year is $70 without the Nintendo DLC, then it'd be less to complain about. There's ultimately still going to be people that complain, but there would be less people complaining.
Yeah, well, they're going to look when it comes to Nintendo, they're going to complain about everything. Like I said,
they're going to complain and buy it anyway.
Yeah, like one of the funniest complaints to me was with the Byleth reveal for Smash when people were complaining about Byleth.
Totally dumb.
I'm like, really? Y'all gonna complain about that?
What? Why did they put this character in just to promote a game? Did you not realize that every character that was put in there was to promote a game?
Why the hell you think Square let down Cloud into to begin with?
Every one of those characters that was put in that game, especially his DLC, were there to advertise another game.
Matter of fact, if you knew the real reason why Solid Snake was in Brawl, he was supposed to have been in Melee to promote Twin Snakes, but they got the stuff too late and they couldn't put him in. So as a favor, they put him in Brawl.
He just got slid over.
Yeah, he got slid over. That was why he was supposed to have been in Melee.
It's been about advertising. That's not a good excuse to crap on something.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. That's why you think I was saying like I would not be surprised if Master Chief got in.
Nobody would be surprised.
I would be like, that game's gonna come out. If I'm Microsoft and I know people are upset with us about how certain stuff look, I would be like, hey, look, man, Sakurai, can you throw us a bone? You know.
Mm-hmm. If Master Chief would have ended up in Smash, everybody would have been teaming him up with Samus.
Oh yeah, dude, and the Doom guy, me.
And you get the Doom guy, me. like somebody had posted it. Like I think you saw it, somebody had posted it on Twitter with Doom Guy, Master
Yeah.
Chief, and Samus. I'm like, that's a
Bruh.
death squad. That,
Bro.
that all that comes in, all that's going to be left in their wake is death and destruction, blown up planets and destroyed universes.
Like, bro, I mean, I'd feel for the person when that portal open and you see Samus come out, you're like, the planet gone. We see Master Chief come out, the ring gone. We see Doom guy come out, and we're going to hell. So, like, just like, what the hell, man? You know what? Screw it.
And then
I'm
look,
done.
then with Doom Guy, they're going to follow him down to hell and beat him again.
Yeah. So, knowing Samus, she'll blow hell up. Oh really? Oh really? Really? You down here? All right,
Now
cool.
you had to put that. Now I got to do this. I have to do an idea for this.
Hell ain't got nothing on Norfair, so
Shoot,
Not like
man.
she ain't been there before.
Yeah, basically, it's just funny how like people be hollering about spoilers for Metroid. I'm like, at this point, is it really a spoiler when you know that she's gonna blow the planet up by the end of the game? It's not a spoiler.
That's her thing.
Yeah,
the story is in between those things.
yeah.
Like it's not.
You already know how the game's gonna end,
You know how it's gonna start. She's gonna lose her powers.
and how it's gonna end. She's gonna blow the planet up.
Yes.
Like point A to B. We know what point A is. We know what point B is. We just gotta figure out how you get there.
Yep.
She's gonna do some insanely cool stuff in the meantime, and then
What you
before it's all over, she's gonna get absolutely upset. That time is gonna go off. You got 3 minutes to get your ship because this is turning to dust. And then Frieza's gonna fly by and be like, "Ain't that the planet I was supposed to? What did the planet here I was supposed to blow up?"
The planet blows up.
Can I get a spoiler like right now though? Like how do you store the power? How do you store a charge so you can dash in and crush whatever you want? Like I've seen people do it, and I'm like, how do you do that? You dash and then you hold down and then you walk again. Because I thought it goes away after that, so I didn't know.
No, it don't go away.
Yeah,
It's the same way it used to work in the other games.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can still store, but it doesn't make the noise anymore.
No,
in
it
Super
don't.
Metroid, it still
just
had the
glow.
like ding ding ding.
Yeah, it don't make noise. You gotta pay attention to the glow.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. So look, and I say all that to say this. Sting is off the chain in AEW, man. I love Crow Sting, but that being said, I don't know why people are just people need to calm down about this whole expansion pack thing. Either you're gonna get it or you're not. So just calm down.
If you don't
breathe.
purchase it, if enough people don't purchase it, they'll think about it. It's like, okay, maybe we should drop the price.
I'm gonna say it again. Didn't people want a subscription service for Virtual Console anyway?
Yep.
Yeah.
Been saying it since Wii U.
Yeah. That's what they've been saying because they were mad about having to
pay
all the
prices
games
for them.
Yeah.
So the price is $30 a year. There you go. That's the price for a subscription service for these games, and it's obviously it makes it $50 if you already paid for Nintendo Switch Online. So I don't know what the.
Once again, you don't have to buy it. So.
But now you got to move a goalpost to the next thing. What all does Nintendo have to have? Basically everything that Sony and Microsoft have, in addition to all the problems. Because I keep hearing this. You get these first party $60 games for. First of all, they're not $60.
No, they're not usually $60
because Sony discount the fuck out of them. So they're not even worth the value that they quote unquote give to you. And depending on what games they are, if they're game of the month, you got to download those then because they're gone.
Yeah, especially with Microsoft. And Microsoft, they done got to a point now where they don't even tell you. They tell you like a couple weeks before.
Yep.
And if you ain't paying attention,
and
it's only 4 games. Microsoft's only 4 games.
4 games per month.
It's only 4. So,
So that's what I didn't talk. I didn't talk about that on my podcast just now. Shameless plug. But so I didn't talk about that. I actually talked to a guy. I talked to him all the way down the list, and I said, "Hey, if Nintendo's anti-consumer, what about them as anti-consumer?" And the only thing they could come up with is, their game preservation. What about it? And they're like, "Well, the games that they don't keep games on their systems or whatever, so it's hard for you to obtain a game." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. So specifically, what games are you talking about that are hard to get or whatever?" and he just came up with 2, I guess, that were in the media recently or whatever, right? And the whole reason we asking that question was I'm asking him directly, what game can you not get that is currently available that Nintendo doesn't sell to you in some way, shape, or form? And so all you can give me was something that you heard in the media real quick. It was a quick Google search. That's all you can give me, and I'm like, okay, great. All right, I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll take what you said. Okay, you said 3D All Stars, right? And I'm just like, here's a link to it at Best Buy. Here's a link to it at Target. Here's a link to it at Walmart.
I was gonna say because they got it everywhere.
They're available. They're available. Go buy it. So why won't you go buy it? He didn't answer that, and he's like, well, and then Fire Emblem, blah blah blah, and I can't get it, and it's gone, blah blah blah, and I'm like,
the only
it's still available on eShop.
Yeah, the only game you can't get physical that I know you can't get physical is Torn of the Golden Country because they didn't make that many, and because people said they weren't gonna get it. People said they weren't gonna get it, so they didn't make that many of them physical, and they sold out.
Yep. So $700 for you, my son.
Yeah.
Now I hurt.
And then that's another thing because I've heard people say that the games that they have on that they show for the Genesis and N64 lineup initial ain't worth it. I dare you to find a cartridge of Ocarina of Time that's below $120.
But their thing is they've been emulated for free for years, so we shouldn't have to pay for it. And I'm like, come again?
But you funny?
That's the same.
But you want an N64 classic though. But you want an N64 classic.
Yeah. And the other thing too, because I was talking to a buddy of mine that does emulate, and I like that's his thing. He was like, "Look, man, the N64 emulators aren't that good." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "No, they're not." He's like, "They're shoddy."
Many of them aren't. No.
Yeah,
they miss a lot of. You'll miss a lot of textures and things on certain games.
Yeah, HLE fixed a lot of stuff. But there's still a lot of issues with some of those ROMs. And then N64 had very custom registers too. So and obviously it's illegal for them to have a full dump of the system firmware. So getting
that ain't gonna happen.
Getting a fully work. So a game like Yoshi's Story or any of the how can I say this? Any of the 256 meg games, the really, really big cartridges, good luck with those because you're not gonna be able to get like Resident Evil 2 and stuff like that. It's not gonna work that well.
Because I got lucky when I found because I have my N64, it still works, thankfully. And I was lucky enough to find a copy of Perfect Dark sealed.
Yep.
And I was lucky enough to get it for $79. Because the store I got it from, they didn't know how much it's going everywhere else. Yep. Because they did, I promise you that they would have jacked that price up.
Did yours come with the expansion pack, or it was just the game by itself?
Actually, my N64 already had an expansion pack, so I didn't need it. Thankfully.
So they sold a Perfect Dark. They sold a version that came with the expansion pack, and they sold a Donkey Kong 64 version that came with the expansion pack. I bought the Perfect Dark that came with the expansion pack, and I believe that was $90 then at the time.
Because I got mine, and I want to say this was 2 years ago that I got that Perfect Dark for $79.
Okay.
That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, like and those cartridges, they were expensive then too. Because they were basically however much memory was on the cartridge, they sold those at cost. Mm-hmm. So if it was over 96 megabits, like you're gonna pay anywhere between $60 to $70 for a cartridge, maybe more.
Because I remember paying that for Conquer. Conquer was $80. Yeah, Conquer's Bad Fur Day was $80.
Killer Instinct Gold was $70.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what game was there was one game that was $80, and
wasn't Star Fox $80 at one point? Or was
I think because it came with the Rumble Pack.
Yeah. I think Star Fox was $80 because of the Rumble Pack. But then in stores at some point, if you got them late enough, Toys R Us and all that was selling it for $50 with the Rumble Pack.
Okay.
It just depended on what store. Like if you went to Software Etc. or something like, they were going to sell it to you for $80.
Yeah, so, they weren't. Yeah, they weren't doing all that. But yeah, that's why I was like, when I hear people say, "Oh, these games are cheap," I'm like, no, they're not. That lineup is actually worth it. And once again, I was telling Andre, it's already been leaked that Perfect Dark is coming. That's why Banjo was already in it. Banjo was already in there because Perfect Dark is actually coming before the end of the year. That's already been leaked. So if that's coming, I'm pretty sure Conker's coming. I'm pretty sure Jeff was Gemini is probably coming.
Jeff was Gemini is the one everybody will want.
And that was probably the whole. That probably was the whole deal with Microsoft anyway. When they probably already had that set in stone. Like, what do we got to do to get on Virtual Console? And whatever.
Yeah, because
So
I'll be completely fair. I have Rare Replay. One of the games that does not work well at all is Jet Force
Jet
Gemini,
Force
and I love
Gemini.
that game.
Yep.
Yeah, because it don't work with
It
twin
don't
stick. It
work.
just don't.
Just the way it feels is weird.
Yeah.
It just
They tried to make it work, but it don't work. I need the N64 controller for that. So
see, but the smart thing for Microsoft would have been just to actually put Rare Replay on the Switch, and then work with Nintendo to let you use the N64 controller with all the games.
yep.
I mean, that would have been the smart play, but then again, that would have been the smart play. So
And they'd have
I
made
mean,
more money.
yeah,
Can
they're skimming off top. I mean, come on, Microsoft's skimming off top.
Can we
Yeah,
go
I
ahead
know.
and say that the purchase of Rare wasn't worth it? Can we say
Well,
that
that
now?
wasn't the point.
Well,
Shadow, that wasn't the point. The point at the time, they Bill Belichicked it. The point was y'all ain't got them. That was the point. It wasn't the point was
We're taking them from you.
we taking them from you.
we
So
making sure you ain't got the star player. That's all that is.
that's what that was. The point was never to we got us a stable second party. No, the point was they work for Nintendo. We couldn't buy Nintendo, so we're gonna take them.
Yep.
Think about it. If they could have got EAD, you think Microsoft wouldn't have bought EAD if they could have?
Oh, they definitely would have. I think everybody will want them, but they know they can't get them. So
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like if you think for once, especially back then, oh come on, man,
definitely.
come on. All Miyamoto was doing was putting out hits.
Yeah,
That's all he was doing. Hit after hit after hit after hit.
And it's just really good game design is what it comes down to. Because if you think about it, they're all kind of reusing the same engine, so to speak. Like Ocarina of Time was just, okay, let's find a really good way to do this in 3D. But we're going to borrow some mechanics from Super Mario 64 or what have you. And we're going to, and they just kind of move stuff around. And they're like, hey, well, we use the Z trigger for jump here, and then we use the C stick buttons to move camera around there. But how do you do that if you want to be able to target something you want to attack? So they're like, well, we could use the trigger instead of crouching. You could use that to attack. So that was kind of smart.
I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, yeah, the N64 was an awkward controller, but for action games, shooters, and stuff like that, dude, that controller was comfortable as hell. When you think about it, now, if you were playing Madden, yeah, it sucked. If you played Madden, it sucked. But if you were playing GoldenEye, you were playing Perfect Dark, if you were playing Time Crisis and Star Fox and stuff like that, bruh, there wasn't nothing more comfortable.
Yeah, it was great for the time.
Yeah, the trigger was right where you needed it at. The C buttons was easy to get to. You didn't need A and B for too much of anything because you were using the stick and the C and the Z button. That's all you were using. You were doing Z targeting. So I'm like, look, N64 and GameCube are my two favorite Nintendo consoles, period, hands down.
Yeah, GameCube is still mine. Switch is kind of getting there though, man.
Switch is getting there, but because I haven't gotten Cosmos and Xenoblade 2, you know where this is going.
Well, I think it's Cosmos for you. It's Cosmos for you. Switch started to become one of my favorite consoles when I realized that I could do Overdrive and Full Burst at the same time with Mithra and Elma in my party. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is so much damage being stacked at one time. Like, this game is great. And I'm like, well, I would just start thinking like, man, this is a pretty good system. So that kind of got me there. And then the fact that I could do that in my hands anywhere I go, I can just be like, you know what, that I just really, all that fun I just had isn't relegated to a TV screen. It can go anywhere. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's Wii U on 10. So yeah.
I mean, they did the thing. That's why I have to give them credit. Now, there was something you was talking about on your podcast about game journalists, and I know y'all saw the title of this podcast. Oh. So I did find out something very interesting that, and I found this out with a lot of sites, not just gaming, but like across the board. Period. Like a lot of people, they're not using journalists; they're using bloggers.
Yeah,
freelance bloggers to get around journalistic integrity. That's how you get around it. So my question, since we're game related, is that why we're getting all this fanboy and console war pushing because of that? Because
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no because Demon Hatefield was of the old guard and he went to a journalism school. So it's like,
yeah. But the thing is, I'm talking about like now because like you have Shuhei Yoshida has come out against it.
Yeah.
Phil Spencer has been against it. Nintendo just they don't care. They just like, look, y'all already screwed us over, so we doing our own thing anyway. We've been separated from that stuff. Y'all following us now with y'all own stuff because y'all see what we had to go through. But I'm saying that they have been, they've already, have decried the console wars because it's not helping them.
But it's helping gaming press though. It helps them get their unique clicks, so that's why they perpetuate it. So you got to talk about something, and just regurgitating the news that Nintendo already put out, that's not really helping. It's not like they'll just go straight to Nintendo. So they're like, we got to come up with something, and it started early on. I mean, even in the early days when they said console wars, it wasn't really like that back in the day when they're just like, look at all these consoles coming out, the 3DO, the M2, and all this blah, blah, blah. It's console wars, and they have the little graphic on the front of the magazines or whatnot.
Nobody fell for it.
Yeah, and even in the article when they were talking about it, they were just talking about the systems and the games that were coming out. They weren't saying, oh, well, you suck if you don't blah, 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 or the Nintendo's systems aren't doing this or whatever. They just talk about the systems, talk about the games, and that's it. And they have to blow out article that talk about it being a war or whatever because these guys are coming out and they're competing for your dollar. That's it, really. Then the foolishness didn't start until these people started getting voices. Like when they started getting their own articles to do whatever on not NC4.com, but once it became IGN, when that started happening, after some of the old guard left, like I forgot the name of the guy. The guy that did the original, I think Feldman, I think his name was, but he did the original really good review for Halo on Xbox for GameSpot.
Yeah, that was Feldman. Yeah,
and he left
a job at Xbox.
Yeah, he got a studio job, and like after that, after he left, it was like nobody else did like a real review of a game anymore. It was all like the NFL. Like he talked about everything that was great about that game. He talked about why it was good. He talked about a couple of things that he thought that was bad. And then he said, this is probably one of the greatest launch releases of all time. And that was it. And he was done.
Yeah. That's, I would say, IGN from like 98 to like 2006 was awesome.
Yeah.
Once 2007 hit, they started going down because that's when you started seeing like they weren't talking about the games. They was talking about graphics. They weren't talking about actual gameplay. They wouldn't halftime. You was like, are y'all even playing this stuff?
Yeah, and you had your Aaron Bodens, or you had your
like Rich was talking about game. Like someone was talking about games, but
yeah, like Aaron Bowden was more about graphics and sports and stuff like that. He wasn't basically if a game looked good, he was giving it a 9.
Yeah,
back then, so you knew what that kind of fanboy was, but he didn't get to review everything, so you kind of knew what to expect. But then you had people with seniority, who's doing, I guess he's still doing kind of funny games right now, but he has seniority on both the PlayStation side, and he had a little input on the Xbox side of IGN as well, and it got kind of weird. So it was like in video form and in review form, there were lacing like console war stuff inside of reviews, inside of hardware reviews, and it just was gross.
It was him, and I know it was him and Colin Moriarty was known for that. That's why I was like, if I saw their name on a review, I just dismissed it.
Yeah, Moriarty was pretty bad too.
He was just horrible about that.
So, and that was before 2007, but that was like the groundwork for because if they were going to be the new guys up and coming and making decisions, if they become senior whatever editors or whatever there, you knew what they were going to start bringing in. So
basically, okay, real quick, because Vicky wants us to acknowledge her dead Nintendo Switch that she got an OLED today. So we're gonna have a brief moment of silence for Vicky's Nintendo Switch that died under
RIP
under dubious circumstances, so she could buy an OLED.
RIP to your Animal Crossing island. I understand that. That's clear pain.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, but you get to start all over and play the DLC and create your
and all that.
cafe and yeah, yep.
And Tom Nook's still gonna get that money. So
Yes, he is. And his kids who are worse than him.
Yeah. So
Are they his kids? Hmm.
I think that's his nephews. They ain't nephews. Okay, so let's talk about something even more ridiculous than that. Now this was actually funny, and I know you had a good laugh off this, Shadow.
Mhm.
David Jaffe.
Bruh. How you a game developer? How Sway? How you a game developer and you really out here not knowing one of the core components of Nintendo's way of game design? They give you instructions without talking to you.
Here's the funny thing. On the tweet that he put out, a person sat up there and put the screen where it tells you you're gonna have to shoot stuff, and he still tried to. I'm like, bruh.
Did you see the video mashup of everybody else just instantly getting it and he's just steady struggling?
Yeah, I'm like, bruh, come on, man. Like, okay, so I can understand if you've never played a Metroid game. I'm not laughing about that. I'm laughing about the fact that he sat up and said that it's horrible game design. Goes ahead to put up Shantae, which does the exact same thing because there's no visual cues for anything that it says that's superior.
No,
I know Way Forward was like, leave us out of this.
The hidden areas inside Shantae are clearly about. Shantae is a mix of Mega Man, Metroid, and Mario. Like it's like all mixed together. And Zelda too for items. So
yeah, but it was funny because it's the same things he was complaining about for Metroid Dread. When his game that he used that he said was superior and was cheaper was Shantae, and I'm like, what you just showed was the same thing. There was no visual cue for what you said in Shantae that you were just angry about in Metroid. And Metroid, they told you at the first beginning. So I was just sitting back laughing. I'm like, this is funny, but this is a game developer though.
It surprises me, but it doesn't surprise me because then when I think about it,
he
I'm
older
just
than
like,
us. Ain't he older than us?
Yes. And I'm like, your studio produced a game that literally took the joke of context sensitive buttons in Conker's Bad Fur Day and turned it into an entire game. You really did that, but you put a really good combo system around it too. But everything in between that was context sensitive button this, context sensitive button that. Mm-hmm. Like nothing else you did in God of War besides combat was that. So it's kind of odd for you to talk about game design that way when the combat is super fluid in Metroid and super fast, in addition to making you think, making you look around, making you explore kind of situation where there's one or two side roads you can go to in the first couple of God of War games and the handheld games. Yeah, it's a couple of ways as well.
It's linear as hell. Even 3 is linear.
Yeah. It's like a couple of places you can go, a couple of nooks and crannies. Yeah.
So I found it funny. I was just like, bruh, like I said, you ain't gotta be, I'm not expecting him to be like the best Metroid player in the world. But I'm like, what you were saying, I'm like, first of all, the game is not that hard. It's not. Challenging at times, yes. But hard, no. Come on, man. You just gotta figure stuff out.
It's one of those games.
Player error.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny about that though? These are the same people that champion Dark Souls for being hard. Same people, same folks, and they're mad. They're mad that when they die in this game, they got to go back to the last save point. Which, generally speaking, by the way the game is designed, isn't that far away.
No, it really
original ain't. Metroid and Super Metroid, you might have to hold that L.
Yeah.
So in this game, it's not that bad. If the enemy or whatever catches you, you're warped back right before you went. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
They could have made it harder.
Old school Metroid. If you didn't intentionally save, you might have lost 2-3 hours worth of progress.
Like they forced it. They forced it in Metroid Prime. So like in Metroid Prime, they're like, we're doing saves the same way. You better save here.
If you saw a save point in Metroid 1 and 2, Metroid Prime 1 and 2, if you saw a save point, you better save because there wasn't gonna be another one for about an hour and a half.
It behoove you, and then you go, and then you're like, no, I'm just gonna go around this corner real quick, and then that's Oh God,
Right
that's
around
really
that corner is a big boss you wouldn't expect.
You want to know something funny? Because that was exactly what happened when in Metro Prime 1 in Finjana Drifts. When you can pass the save point, but as soon as you turn that corner, Mama Seagull.
Yep. Or Mega Pirate, and you're like,
Good
why
luck.
didn't I? Why didn't I save? Why?
And then you realize I have no missiles.
Yep. And you're screwed. So like,
Screw it, just kill me.
and then you die, and you're just like, this game sucks. It's not Halo. Like, bruh,
No, it's not
come on.
supposed to be.
It's not like that.
Chanel makes an excellent point there. So people keep complaining about Nintendo being kiddie and easy.
Thank you.
But when Nintendo gets challenging, it's too hard.
Thank you.
I
Bad game design, not intuitive.
I will give David Jaffe one thing. The point he made about the hint system, because Dread does have a hint system, but the hint system makes no sense. And here's what I mean. Like, you'll see the part on the map where it's blinking, right? And that means you're supposed to go there. All right, why are you blinking when you know I don't have a morph ball?
Yeah.
Like, why are you know I can't get to that.
I think that's because, especially the way that we're probably playing for old school, I think it's because we're sequence breaking, and they wanted us, if we had the items that we had, that means we had other things, so we could go there and do that.
Yeah.
But if we sequence broke, then we can't.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, everybody. I'm gonna be completely honest. Craig was kicking my behind last night, so I sequence broke the game. Screw it. I did it. I did it. I put the video up on the gaming channel. I did it. I killed him. I killed him in a nasty way, and I enjoyed every minute of it. But
you did the morph ball.
I went and got the bombs and the grapple hook. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, that's foul.
You are gonna die today. So yes, I did that. And yes, I put it on there for your viewing enjoyment. Please go to the gaming channel. You'll see 6 minutes of bliss.
That's a snuff film.
But to be honest, the thing is, like, with most games like that, because I used to do that on the SNES all the time. With Link to the Past, I would sequence break all the time because I would get tired of doing stuff, especially when I got to the Dark World. I'm not finna be taking 45 minutes to beat this dude. I'm finna go to this 4th dungeon, grab the chest out of there. I'm not gonna beat the boss. I'm just gonna grab the chest, grab what I need, go back to the first 3, and whoop it in under 20 minutes.
Yep.
So yes, I sequence broke all the time. I did it all the time. I know I wasn't supposed to, but they shouldn't have let me do it. Is how I say.
I mean, look,
yeah.
That's the thing, though. If you've played the game long enough, you know the ins and outs. You know how to get around certain things.
I still think that's good though, because they designed the game to where, like, what we're complaining about would help somebody if they didn't sequence break and they played in the way that they expected to guide them. Because if they're just going baby steps and they're not trying to go explore time to get a new item, like I'm guessing most of us did. Time we started playing, you're like, oh, I got this thing. I'm gonna go to every world and try this new thing out to see if I can go to new areas or whatever, right? Other people don't do that. What's the next story beat? I gotta go to what's the next place for me to go to. Then they go to the next place and they get turned around because they need to go back. I think that's why they highlighted those areas for those people. So
that's the only thing I can give him. Because I'm like, you know what? I understand what you're saying at that point. Because honestly, if you're gonna do that, you kind of need to give something a little else other than that than just the blink. Because that's not helping anybody. If I need the grappling beam and you're still blinking like I need to go there right now.
Yes,
you know that doesn't help.
So
they
I had
issues.
A thing
to stop the blinking from happening if you entered the area and couldn't do anything.
I had issues finding the cannon for the green Emmy because you kind of have to traverse a little weirdly, and that's a much bigger area.
Yeah, that one you had to go up and then down. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah,
but it eventually highlighted that area for me. So I was like, oh, okay, that's the way I need to go. And so I went there and I was able to get the cannon and take care of business there. And then I recorded a video, lo and behold, right? But after that, I didn't really need it anymore because I'm wide open and I'm going everywhere and I'm doing everything or whatever. And I would just make a long round trip and like, oh, well, there's nothing here. Let me go back to this area. Let me go to this area. And I just go to all, however many, I think I have 7 areas open at the time now. And I would just go through all of those until I run into a brick wall. And then that's it.
I think I got 5 of them open because I'm running right now. I'm supposed to be taking out the yellow Emmy, but I ran into the blue one and I'm running for my life right now. So
yeah, the blue one is chasing everybody right now. Yeah,
and the blue one,
I think I ran from him too at one point.
First of all, where is a adamantium or vibranium rocket launcher when I need one?
I can't time the stun attack quick enough. It's random for me.
It's this much, and you have got to pay attention to the arm and because
the sound.
Every time
I pay attention to the sound.
I pay attention to the sound because the sound it's off for me. It's the arm and the eye. They usually line up. I've noticed because I've got killed enough by enemies to notice. It'll blink right then. It'll blink at the same time. That's when you get the counter, and that's when you can do it. But if because I was trying to do sound too, but when I did it, it worked on the white enemy. But when I did it on the green one, it didn't work.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. So I noticed that the yellow, blue, and green, every time they pick me up, the eye line and the arm line are in the same thing, and that's when right when it hits, that's when I was able to do it. So that's how I'm able to do it. But it don't do me no good because every time I stun them, I run into a brick wall. Like these cheating, but that's neither here nor there. There is one thing that we do need to talk about, and I promised Let's Switch that we were going to get into this. I'm looking for, if you can give me 1 second. Crisis Trilogy is on the Switch. They got all 3 plus the bundle. I haven't gotten it yet. I plan on picking that up in a couple of weeks. But I did find a YouTuber that actually went through and did the breakdown of it. And it is a switch up. So let me put this up and I'll let you guys see this real quick.
Crisis Trilogy.
Yeah, so let me do that. Now, I never got a chance to play Crisis when it originally came out because reasons. And so now I like his breakdown of this one. He's breaking down Crisis 2. Now he does have a video for Crisis 3 performance-wise as well.
Should probably be in the top pin comment by the time you watch this. But if it isn't,
it's at a steady clip of like 30 FPS. It's 900p and it looks great to me.
Wow, 900p? Wow, yeah. They didn't have to do that.
Yeah, so I know on this now this is what he was talking about on Crisis because this is for 2. So I'm actually looking forward to this.
To let a channel go through that performance piece
so I'm probably going to pick up all 3, even though buddy of mine said me the first one really ain't all that good. But I heard 2 and 3 were actually. He said 2 and 3 was where it was at.
Crisis 2 is pretty good.
And as always, for all things Switch,
so
all the time, keep the Switch up. Cheers, guys.
So if go to his site if you go to his YouTube channel. It's as you can see, it's Switch Up, and he actually has everything on there. He gives down the breakdown. He has the frames going. You can see that it's not dipping. It's steady. So I'm like, okay, dude, it's not bad. It looks great to me. So check him out. Switch Up. Now, I did want to ask you guys because you played it, right?
What? Oh, the original Crisis? Yeah.
So,
I played that on PC.
Because that's FPS, and we don't have that many FPS to be honest. We got Borderlands and
Doom and Wolfenstein.
And I didn't really care for Wolfenstein all that much. I mean, so much you can do with me killing Nazis. I mean, I mean, so much. But no, I was gonna get Wolfenstein, but I started playing something else, and I just never got around to getting it. So, but I was thinking about picking up Crisis. So, what are your thoughts on Crisis?
So going back to something like that, from now until then, it's gonna take some adjustment because I'm guessing that you've played Doom 2016 and probably Doom Eternal as well, right?
Not Eternal, but 2016, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's not gonna be as fluid as that. It will be more fluid than say Return to Castle Wolfenstein, if you remember that. But all it is just a take on Far Cry. The original Far Cry engine, they just needed something to do with the Far Cry engine, so they did Crisis. And it can be pretty fast, depending on what scene they throw at you and what abilities they give you for cloaking and all that kind of stuff to move through scene to scene, doing melee or long distance. So it just depends on, and the feel I don't know how to go. So I've never played Crisis on a console,
Looks
so
like
I
we
don't know
got
how
freeze.
I don't know how to translate because I was
And we,
Well, Game Pass.
yep, Game Pass. There we go.
So maybe we remote. I don't because I don't know how I don't
Well,
know
they're
how it would
using gyro.
translate.
They're using
They're
gyro for
using
this.
gyro.
Yeah, gyro
Okay.
is going to be for this. So
So it's
that should work.
a quick twitch mouse keyboard game. I just don't know. I don't know how that's going to translate because some of those games they will literally have to reprogram the timing for controllers for other consoles.
Which I think they probably because the way it looked on Switch Up's gameplay, it looked smooth. So and he
Yeah.
said he was using gyro. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay, I was gonna say
I'll
because
probably use gyro.
the level design is not straightforward how a console shooter is. It's more like how the conduit and stuff is. Like you'll walk in a scene and there'll be enemies at different heights and and because it's assuming that you have a mouse and that you can move around and aim,
Free aim and all
whatever.
that.
And so just porting that to a console will probably be kind of bad unless you change the speed on some things. So
that's probably how they got away with it for 360.
Yeah. I would imagine they had to do that because those analog sticks they're not fast enough to be able to respond to something like that unless you create like quick look or something like that. That's the only thing I can think of.
That reminds me. I'm glad you said the conduit, Shadow. Andre, can you do a video talking about how the conduit could work on Switch so we can
already did that.
When did you do it?
A couple of years ago, I think.
No, it don't even have to be HD, man. Port conduit.
I already did the video for that. Oh, let me look up the exact date for this.
Yeah, because I'm gonna need that. We need to make sure that gets ported to Nintendo, so we can get that next year.
Actually, it was last year. It'd be a year on the 23rd.
Cool.
But I don't think they're doing anything. They were trying to build. They were trying to do a mobile game. I think last time
the last time High Voltage, because I don't know what happened. Well, High Voltage was one of those companies that went down because of HD.
Yeah, they couldn't get anybody to buy their engine, and they couldn't get that many ports done. They did a couple of ports. They did a couple of Nintendo ports actually for Sega at the time. But I don't think
I know the last game that I saw them do was the conduit for mobile for tablets.
Yeah, and then they had that one game that they were doing for the Wii, and it never happened or whatever.
Grinder.
So you're talking about Project
Grinder.
Yeah.
No, the Grinder.
Which was Project Hammer, but then it became no, it was separate. Never mind.
Because the Grinder was more like Hunter the Reckoning.
Yeah, and then they switched it to a top down,
which they should have never did that. Yeah, they should have never did that. But I was wondering that because I'm like the conduit was actually good and actually sold well. So I never understood why, but then again, I don't understand why they didn't go back to Red Steel after Red Steel 2. I don't understand why Red Steel 1 was, but Red Steel 2 was actually pretty fun. So
yeah, they were
Red
actually
Steel 2 had to deal with the stigma from Red Steel.
True.
They did Get Out of Hell. They did a lot of development for that. Yeah, they did that. They did Lego Racers. They also did a lot of the design for Mad World and House of the Dead Overkill.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I did not know that they were the developers of NBA Inside Drive for the original Xbox. I did not know that was them. And the last thing they did was Ballista for Oculus Quest. So that's where they're at right now. They're doing licensed games. So they're doing DLC for Fortnite. They're doing Zombieland, Double Tap, Mutant Year Zero. They're just doing a bunch of different projects for different publishers. And apparently they worked on Mortal Kombat 10. Did not know that. I'm guessing what they did was they probably worked on getting they probably helped to shoehorn the freaking the net code on there.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what their role was in that because that was NetherRealm's project, but they're credited with Deep Silver on that game. So I don't know what project other than Ballista that they have going forward. They don't really have anything else that I know of. The Grinder was their last big project. It was just them, and that was supposed to be for Wii, 360, and PS3.
Yeah, Wii 360 and PS3. Yeah, I kind of miss Hunter the Reckoning stuff though. I kind of miss that game. That was actually a fun game. Crazy.
Actually, that series could just be remastered and brought out now.
Yeah, I mean, hell, Back 4 Blood. I mean, come on.
I think it was was it like?
Yeah.
It was like 3 or 4 games in that series. I think it was 3.
Well, because they did Hunter the Reckoning, then they did Wayward for PS2, and then they did Redeemer for Xbox. Yeah, I personally like Redeemer because Redeemer was like 10 years later because the little girl from the first one was now a hunter.
Yeah, because the first game was on GameCube and Xbox.
It was on every system. Yeah,
no, it was on. First game was on every.
It was on okay.
Yeah,
then
it was on PS2 also.
Specifically on PS2.
It didn't look that.
And then the third game
PS2,
was on
it
Xbox.
was there.
Well, Wayward was supposed to be like 5 years after the first one, and then Redeemer was 10 years after the first one. But they didn't come back to the Nintendo. They just PlayStation got Wayward and Redeemer.
And Xbox got Redeemer.
Yeah,
which was a weird way to go about it.
Yeah, I think that was the thing where I think at that time too they needed money, so they were trying to get bigger publisher money. And what better way to get bigger publisher money than to get a first party check?
I mean, Microsoft back then was just handing out blank checks.
Yeah,
they were hanging out blank checks.
It's kind of not surprising that you ended up with an exclusive game on each platform for that reason, because a lot of B studios that was the time when they were getting ready to die again. So they were like, okay, so our studio doesn't go under. We need a lot of money now, so we got to do whatever.
NFL Blitz on what was that special version of Blitz for Xbox, for OG Xbox?
Yep,
they did a special version of that one.
Special version of Blitz, and then
Gauntlet Legends had a special version for PlayStation and Xbox. So yeah,
they paid Capcom for a special version of Onimusha, like all kind of stuff. They just Microsoft just cutting checks.
Yeah, and that was one of the main. That's why a lot of people didn't like it. Didn't like the fact that Microsoft got in the game because they were just handing out blank checks, and you're like, can't nobody else do that.
Yeah.
And so
they were getting exclusive content though, because they was getting games that was built. It was stuff added to the game that was just for Xbox.
Yeah.
So
and the funny thing about it was like, had Sony stayed like Nintendo and Sega, they would be in a way better position now.
Yeah.
Because when they decided to try to keep up with the Joneses, that's when they messed up.
They had it. It was the original PlayStation and a little bit of PlayStation 2. It was that. It was give me weird Japanese stuff. Give me the Santa Monica studio stuff. And you have mascots. You have Japanese and American mascots. Go with those.
Yep.
And they chose to walk away from it.
Did they have? Yeah, they had theirs on par with Nintendo because Nintendo wasn't using half of them.
They basically bought Crash without buying Crash.
Yeah,
that's essentially what they had going on.
Basically, what it was doing. And really, they really had a leg up because right when Nintendo let Rare get bought, they really had a chance. Like, because that right there. And I understand why Nintendo did it because I mean they were
expensive.
Yeah, they needed the money at the time. So I mean, I get it, but I mean, dang, come on, man. I wouldn't let them go.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where Nintendo still kind of got away scot-free though, because they kind of retained the majority of the relevant properties for the most part.
I mean,
I love Killer Instinct, but that wasn't a relevant property for them, so they let it go.
I mean, because I think the first one sold good, but the second one didn't.
Yep.
But the second one sold good in arcades, which.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and it's weird to do well in arcades. That game was extremely popular in arcades. Like I didn't know of arcade that didn't have it. So
because my college had it.
Yeah,
my college had that, and there was more people at KI2 than there were at the Tekken Tag tournament one.
Yep.
And that was unheard of at the time.
Like, how do you? There's no way to really account for that. Used to be a thing, and there used to be awards for it and everything, but now it's like there's no way to trace any of that anymore because the only people buying the majority of that stuff anymore is Dave and Buster's. So,
well, now Arcade 1-Up, you can get some of them with Arcade 1-Up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm surprised they haven't put a Killer Instinct or Killer Instinct 2 one out yet. I'm surprised what they doing everybody else.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
well,
trying to work that with
supposedly Arcade One Up, the Killer Instinct one has 2 on it as well, and I think
okay.
it's 2 and Battletoads is on there. So the
Because
Battletoads
I know
arcade game
because
is
it's
on there.
not just one. They never just do one game. It's usually 3 or 4. Because the X-Men one has X-Men Arcade. It has
The
X-Men versus Street Fighter, and
Yeah.
it has something else on it. X-Men. I can't remember.
Children of the Atom, maybe.
Maybe Children of Atom. Maybe
Yeah,
Children
I
of
was about to
Atom. Yeah, but I mean, as long as they don't have Wolverine's adamantium rage, that broken piece of mess. The only level that worked was the first one.
I don't think that was in the arcade though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, as long as nobody has that game.
No.
Hey, y'all talking
You don't
about
need
Dark
that.
Souls? Let me tell y'all about Dark Souls. Dark Souls ain't got nothing on Wolverine adamantium rage.
Or Spider-Man X-Men Arcade's Revenge. Like that game, 0 clues of what to do next. Just get good. Just get good. That's it.
My personal favorite, when they actually let Arcade tell you he's cheating in the game.
Yes.
Wow, really, bro? This game is designed to eat your quarters.
Yep.
And it wasn't a cheap game. You were paying 75 cents a
pop. Bart versus the World was kind of difficult too.
Bart versus the World was, but the original Simpsons arcade game was actually not. Yeah, I know people like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 was harder.
Yeah. Like TMNT, the arcade game was you could die on Rocksteady, and it's like you just got to be careful. Like
there were points in that game where I needed all 4.
Yeah.
Like I needed all 4. There wasn't no way I was beating Shredder without. I remember the only time I beat it in the arcade, it was me and my cousin and 2 people we didn't even know.
Cut it out.
We just straight up went to work.
Yeah,
and we did it.
I know.
I think I spent $20 one weekend with a couple of friends, and then we beat the Simpsons arcade game. Yeah. And the only way we beat it is we kept doing all the team up attacks.
Yeah,
that was the only way. Yeah.
The Simpsons game, you had to use team up attacks,
which was kind of cool because you could play that and not even know that was there. You just had to watch the demo mode and pay attention.
Yeah, you had to spend the first 2 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, so every time I hear about like how hard Dark Souls is, I just start laughing. Like, clearly y'all have not played Contra.
Clearly.
or Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3 on NES.
Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3. Gradius, R-Type.
Yep, R-Type. Contra 3, the Alien Wars.
Contra Hardcore.
Contra Hardcore.
Which was intentionally screwed up.
Yeah.
Super Castlevania 4 was hard too.
Because wasn't that because like somebody said it was too easy, and they were like, "Oh, really?"
No. The international ports of the game were made more difficult than the Japanese version because people in Western countries claim it's too easy to beat.
Yeah. I was like, what? Like, don't ever say that.
Same thing for Contra 3. It's easier for the Japanese version of the game than it is for the American. And they had the cheat code in there for more lives. Just found that out because of the Contra collection.
They had to have that part in there to help you out.
Yeah, they didn't give it to us.
Down, left, right, A, B, select, start.
Yep.
No. This is real simple. It's like doing a fireball in Street Fighter.
Oh wow!
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah,
I know there was. That's back when you
Contra 3.
That's back when you actually knew what the cheat codes were. I used to love cheat codes, man. Now you got to pay for them. Thank you, EA. Now we got to pay for them.
Yeah.
Your bragging asses. All they had to do was not brag about how much they made off microtransactions. We wouldn't have this problem.
Just so gross.
Yeah,
I remember when the only time you had to pay for cheat codes was the Game Genie, and it came with a book with all of them. You didn't have to buy. You didn't have to buy one for every single game, and then magazines had new codes in there for newer games.
In the back, they would always be in the back. I'm like, come on, man. But then again, we don't even have arcades over here in the States, so I mean, we only got Dave and Buster's, and that's pretty much about it. You lucky to find one,
Yeah, there's a GameX in Atlanta, which is okay, but it's not really that big. And then there's a couple other, like you can probably go to like a place that has like go-karts or whatnot, and they like one of those kind of amusement parks, whatever they have, decent.
All I know is I want afterburner arcade setup with the actual cockpit,
Yes.
so I can wreck the plane on the aircraft carrier like I always do.
I want road blasters like that too. I want to sit down road blasters, and I want a rocket launcher on top of my car. That's what I want. I wanted to float down from the sky, and then I want to blow up some cars. Yes. That's
my personal favorite, that cruising game where you actually was on the bike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Cruising Exotica?
I think it was Exotica, and it was actually tilt with you.
Yep.
Except for that one time I fell off in Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh yeah, you can't fall out in Chuck E. Cheese. You can't let the kids see that. Like
yeah, yeah, that happened. Hey man, it wasn't my fault. All the way. But no, but yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this episode.
Yeah, it's about time for me to head out anyway because I gotta go support my team.
Yeah, so yeah, they're gonna lose. But
oh no, they won last night, so we're gonna do it again. We're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Oh, the Braves, yeah.
Oh yeah, Braves.
Yeah.
ATL
represent. So
yeah.
hope you guys enjoyed the episode tonight. We really appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat. All that other good stuff. Check out my gaming channel. Put some stuff up today, and the Let's Talk from yesterday. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Shadow, anything you want to pimp out?
Nah, just did a Shadowcast. Y'all go watch that, rewatch that. Yeah, just rewatch it, and I may or may not put up a video this week. We'll see.
All right, cool. Andre.
Well, I mean, if you want to hear me say something crazy like the Xbox Series X is an 8th gen console, you can go ahead and check my channel out for that.
I do not disagree in a certain way.
Oh boy,
I state factually why it would be.
Yep, and you just pissed off everybody. But
no, hold on, Sony fans, you win this one.
Oh yeah, PS5 gonna love that.
PS5 is the only 9th gen console. You win.
But I thought 9th generation meant you had to have an SSD, that flash drive thing that even the Wii had.
Then the Switch already met that requirement.
Oh, one more thing. If you guys are looking for a terabyte flash card for your Switch, they do have them on sale on Amazon. I just got mine yesterday, so it was like $100. It was at $99. So
$99 for a terabyte.
Yeah, for a terabyte. So you might want to check that out.
That's a steal. Where my phone at?
Yeah, so because I got mine and mine came in yesterday. That's why I haven't been on it as much because I'm re-downloading everything.
Jeez,
so
I think I paid $120 for the 400 one a while back.
Yeah, so it was on sale, and I got mine yesterday, and it was $99. So if you are looking for a upgraded Switch micro SD card, go to Amazon. They do have the terabytes up for like $99. So there's that.
Also for the people that think that Nintendo is really bad at preservation, you can find digital code for Fire Emblem to download on your Wii U today. Since everybody wants to play Shadow Dragon and it's not available currently, even though it came out for the DS in 2009. It's also on the Wii U, so you can go on the eShop and you can download it there for about $8. Or you could go to Target or any other retailer and buy Super Mario 3D All-Stars, since apparently that game is also hard to find. Go figure.
Well, that's never going to get old. So, that being said, thank you guys. We will see you guys next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're out.
Peace out.